Claudia, it's just gone midnight. We're into the final days of negotiations, and you've been in this Ndaba, this informal meeting. Can you tell us what's been happening?
Well, basically the ministers are quite engaged at this point. I think that everybody understood that we have a responsibility, a huge responsibility. This is a really extremely difficult negotiation. The second commitment period lies in certain reassurances about what is it going to happen with the LCA track, which is the convention track. So now the decisions that we need to make to actually ensure the continuation of Kyoto are extremely complicated, and to actually wrap up a good package, a balanced package, most of the decisions need to be done by ministers at this point. There are still some technical working groups that are still doing some drafting, but at this point ministers already understood that they need to take over the processes that haven't been resolved by the technical people. So at this hour, late hour, in which everybody's extremely tired, minister just came out of a consultation which actually was extended for almost 2 hours, in which we actually took a look of all the issues that are the most complicated issues. We are actually starting by the most difficult parts. And now we actually launch a meeting of our technical people at the level of heads of delegation to try to continue our discussion, but in their level. And then some other technical people are still in a drafting setting for those issues that they can solve. So now is a moment in which actually left that room committed to stand the whole night if it is necessary, because this is the final night. We are not going to have another full night. The next day is going to be the final plenary. So this is the night in which we need to have something for tomorrow. So we don't have more time. So now we have to work. So everybody, I think, is going to grab something to eat really quickly. For me, it's going to be actually my lunch that I haven't took as yet, and it's midnight. So it's going to be my breakfast from tomorrow. But we are engaged. We need to do this. This is the moment. I think the world, as I said in my statement today at the plenary, the world have already enough bad news. We need to deliver a good one, and I think the world is needed and greeting of a good news.
And the tone of these negotiations seems to have picked up today. It seems more optimistic. Has that carried on over into the evening?
It said that high-level segment understand the complexity of the decisions that we need to make. We have a pragmatic optimism. We need to be very careful because balance lies in a very, very fragile zone. So we understand that fragility. At least we have that a common sense of how delicate this agreement is going to be. Once that we reach that balance, we need to protect it, because it's going to be the only insurance that we are going to protect Kyoto, which is the demand of developing countries. We need to work a lot in all levels. I mean, I'm ready to engage in drafting in whatever setting, informal bilaterals. As you may know, I am facilitating one issue for the presidency to help her to figure out with the issue of economic and social consequences of response measures, which is a quite complex issue. So we are heading now to the drafting group to see how they are going and to see if they are going to be able to resolve that issue. Otherwise, I will have to take over technical level and wrap up that to sort it out.
And the US seems to have been on the back foot today following this announcement by the EU, AOSIS and the least developed countries. How do you see the US response and the response of countries like Canada, and what do you expect to see next from the basic group?
Actually, regarding the US, I think maybe their silence is a good position. At this point, we understood their limits. I mean, politically, economically, I mean, they cannot say anything but what they cannot do. So at least to have them silent is going to be good enough. And they have been spoken too much. So I think it's maybe a good sign. Regarding basic countries, I think they are engaged. They have been saying since, I don't know, before Copenhagen that they were ready to be engaged. Now the discussion is, are they ready to take those same commitments under a legally binding type of agreement? That is a question that is going to remain open until, I think, the final, not hours, but minutes of the agreement. And that is going to be just to see.
And we spoke to Pablo Salon earlier today. He said that anybody who thought that this process was transparent was naive. Could I just get your comment on the way that this series of negotiations has been run?
I don't think that anybody is naive at this point. We have suffered enough to be, aware. ALBA group of countries have already, and since the first day, called for transparent, open-ended. We don't want to repeat the same mistake that we did. And those mistakes actually serve the process to get better. And I think so far, so good. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. It's maybe too early to say that these consultations are going to produce texts and everything is going to go well. It would be naive then to say that. We know this is a complex issue. We hope that it's going to be better and get well in all areas, but we know, I don't think at this point any country is naive in this process. I think we need to remain with both eyes wide open to see what is going to happen. Still pending the decision on the Green Climate Fund. The ALBA countries also raised their concerns about it. So I will not relieve my concerns until I see the text and I heard the banging. So until that minute, everything is open and everybody's aware.
And just finally, last year Pablo Salon was a lone voice in challenging the text at the last minute of the negotiations. Can you envisage a scenario where you might be that voice this year?
You never know, yeah, maybe. I think we all have principles, very strong principles. In that sense, I fully endorse the position that was taken by him at that night. I understand it. I think, yes, why not? We don't know. We don't know what is going to be the situation. We don't know what is going to happen in the final hours. But until that moment, I will keep hoping that it's not going to be the case and that we are going to have an agreement, because I think we already have enough of that. Nobody wants to be seen in the situation. It's not easy to take that position. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, it's a fearless. It's a fear situation. It's a situation that no one wants in multilateralism, but sometimes you need to take those positions. And I understood by his afterwards declarations the reason why he decided to take that position, and he still kept it. So I respect that. I respect his integrity. Now, what is it going to happen there? I don't know. I thought actually in Copenhagen that I was going to be the only one, and we were 6. I don't know. It's always a possibility, but I don't want to cut my hand anymore, ever. I don't think that multilateralism need any more of that. We need agreements. We need get out of Durban with a good feeling. I think, as I said, that we need good news. We need good news sometimes. Yeah.
Claudia, it's a positive note to finish it on. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.